Hi there, Steve here. Got another bat rep for you. This week I had a chance to play against a Ghost Fleet list, against a guy who plays a lot of Cygnar. I believe he was trying out Ghost Fleet just to kind of get an idea of how it works and just to get an idea of the tactics and things that he would be likely to see if he was playing Cygnar against Ghost Fleet. So if you like fully painted models and not using proxies, then don't watch this video, because my opponent's list looked like this. He had a lot of mechanithrals there representing the ghost crew of the Artemenius, and lots of other proxies, but generally speaking the list looked like this. It was a Deneghra 1 Ghost Fleet list. So she just had a couple of Death Rippers and Nightmare in her battle group. Then I'm working from memory here, so I'm not exactly sure exactly what the list was, but I know that there was 2 Machine Wraiths, which are the 2 middle-sized bases that you can see here. One of them looks like a Machine Wraith, the other one looks like, I don't know what, over there on the far right. There was a Pistol Wraith combined with the Hellslinger model. Then we had Blackbane's Ghost Riders with Blackbane attached, I believe, and then 3 units of the Revenant crew, were 2 Max and 1 Min, and with a scattering of riflemen in there just to fill out the points. And then he also had Captain Rengrave, of course. So I really wanted to find out if my Maddox list had what it takes to take on such a list. So I felt okay about it, because my Maddox list as it stands at the moment is Maddox with the Squire and just the Hurricane in their battle group. The Hurricane's got Strange Ways accompanying it. Got 2 maximum units of Storm Lancers, got Lattimore, got a unit of Stormblades with 2 weapon attachments and the command attachment, and the Stormblade Captain as well, and that's all in Storm Division. So I felt like I had, if I played things correctly with my threat ranges and having snipe on the Storm Lancers, things like that, the fact that I've got magical weapons that I can give to the Hurricane, and then he's got an AoE that he can send out, and his slam guns, I felt like I had enough attacks to try and suppress the Ghost Fleet recursion systems. And if you don't know what Ghost Fleet does, then it's basically a infantry spam with a strong recursion. So the theme that it gets taken in, it gives it a +1 to the roll that determines how many models it gets back each turn. So there's really 2 ways to deal with it. Either you can just get a critical volume of attacks that will be able to take away more models than it's able to generate each turn. So there's 3 regenerating units here, so that would be 3d3 plus 3 models returning each time. So if you can't kill more than that many models, or rather a lot more than that many models, then you may as well not be killing anything each turn. And another way of getting rid of it is to use remove from play. So models that are removed from play can't ever be returned back to their original units. So that would just be a way of getting around the recursion tactics altogether. I think that Cygnar probably shouldn't, is one of the stronger factions against Ghost Fleet. And I'm guessing that if you are playing Ghost Fleet in a pair, then you probably wouldn't drop it unless you were had a particularly weak second list against Cygnar. I'm guessing you wouldn't necessarily drop it against Cygnar because of the so many Storm Lancers here. So I was prepared. I believe I got first turn, so I was prepared to get the magical weapons up on the Hurricane, and hopefully you had enough attacks to take it down. So we are playing on Steamroller 2017, the final CID cycle. I can't remember what this one's called, but as you can see, it's got a large circular zone in the middle, and then diagonally across the board, it's got the 2 rectangular zones, and then we got a flag each as well. So I got first turn, which I think is pretty important because it allows me to not to worry too much about scenario while still being able to hopefully get the Alpha Strike. And as you can see, I moved up my Storm Lancers. They got their pre-move. So this is what my first move looked like. So again, just running up the Hurricane, wasn't able to get any shots even with Snipe up on him this time. And I think I put Snipe up actually on the left-hand Storm Lancers this time, because it makes their threat range so much longer. It's a 20-inch threat range. And again, with the ability to assault, yeah, it makes them give them a very long threat range. And it's pretty nice, especially against infantry. The problem is trying to get them to hit, so that's why I need to have Lattimore nearby. And then symmetrical over on the right hand side, I've got my other set of Storm Lancers running in. I think a couple of them are within the threat range of the movement and shooting of the rifle guys, I believe. Probably the rest of them as well, so they can walk 6 and shoot 12, I think, and then have a CRA. So they've got like a 18-inch threat. And so yeah, probably pretty much just sort of offering up a couple of Storm Lancers for him to use up his whole unit shooting, and then hopefully charge in and do some damage with the rest of them. I should have been a bit more cautious with the distances, like the 3 Storm Lancers at the back. I probably could have played them a bit more cautiously because their threat range is so long. Just got the Hurricane coming up in the middle, ready to help support those Storm Blades and try and get enough attacks out just to hopefully tip the balance. So this slide is after we've both had another turn, I think. So here you can see that he, on the right hand side, he's taken out one of, oh no, he wasn't able to, that's right, he wasn't able to take out either Storm Lance, but he was very unlucky with his roll, so he was able to get one of them down to 1 box, I think, and then take almost all the boxes off another one of them, but didn't touch the other 3. And you can see Snipe is up on those ones, so I've hot swapped Snipe from one side over to the other. And then, yeah, I did a lot of shooting with Lattimore, of course, ran in. Lots of electro leaps, lots of shooting. Hurricane was able to use some AoEs to take out quite a lot of the ghosts, which were over on the left-hand zone. And then he was able to line up quite a lot of models up in front of my Storm Lancers using Run, which I then took down. But this leaves my Storm Blades in the centre here. Leaves my Storm Blades open to another hit from the remaining guys. As you can see at the top of the board, I've been able to take out quite a lot of dudes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I can see 15 dead guys there. But yeah, and obviously Deneghra is now standing inside the left-hand zone, trying to contest. And I was able to run up a Storm Lance into the zone and actually get her into control range. So at this point, I don't think she's feated. Maybe she has. Maybe yes, she did feat, and that's why I didn't kill as many as I probably maybe might have been able to. So yeah, so the attrition's looking all right at the moment. So let's see what the next slide looks like. And as you can see, yeah, I'm not looking anywhere near as healthy. So on the left, I've now lost 4 out of 5 of my Storm Lancers, and the other one's engaged by a Machine Wraith and is stuck behind a wall. On the right, I've lost a couple of Storm Lancers, and the remaining ones are tied up in melee, but they're doing okay. Not too bad at the moment. I think at this point, I'd taken out quite a lot of the systems on one of the Death Rippers. The other one's dead, I think, at this point. The Hurricane being quite useful for shooting away Death Rippers. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that I fluffed the slam shots on both Death Rippers, boosted slam shots on the first turn with Death Rippers. Although I don't think they tip the balance too much in this game, so it's always nice to take out those arc nodes, especially with a spell slinger like Deneghra. So you can see there's approximately the same number of dead dudes up on the top right hand corner of the screen. So with his recursion, he's able to maintain a certain level of guys, and my number of guys is diminishing rapidly every turn. And this is the strength of Ghost Fleet, of course. So and there's actually the weakness of my Maddox list is that after the alpha, then all of my guys tend to be quite easy to kill. Also, a lot of people in our group tech towards taking out Storm Lancers these days very sensibly as well. So yeah, that's what's happening. So we're both slowly grinding, but I don't have recursion, so I'm getting ground down a bit quicker. But my opponent is running out of time on the clock, so as you can see, I took my photo while he was already started his turn. He didn't have a second to lose. He brought loads of guys back and then was able to push them down into the zone. So as you can see, Maddox is here scoring points. I think I got ahead by 1 point maybe, and then my opponent was also scoring points. He was able to get my guys out of the zones, and no one's moving that Hurricane out of the center zone, but he can still score with Nightmare on his zone before I get the chance to come back. So we got down to quite low on the clocks here, and it became more of a game of very quickly scoring points, a bit of a scramble, and my game suffers a lot when I'm trying to do those kind of things, so I can't really make decisions quickly enough to work out the best ways of scoring points or contesting zones and preventing my opponent from scoring points. And this is what Steamroller 2017 seems to come down to rather a lot at the moment, is just that scramble to get enough points before the turn 7 comes along. So yeah, he managed to get some more dudes down into the right-hand zone, which prevented Maddox from being able to score down there. And the crux of it was that he was almost out of time, and I believe actually didn't have enough time left on his clock to play 2 full rounds. I think it was at less than 30 seconds. But he spotted that on the left-hand zone, all of my guys are dead at this point. So he can't contest, he can't score points on the centre because the Hurricane's standing there, but he can run Deneghra down onto my flag and score points that way. So he's able to score points on my flag on his square zone with Nightmare, who incidentally I also did a lot of damage to from what I remember, and then contest my zone and my flag to stop me scoring any points, and then ticked over a couple of turns because he was running out of the clock, and unfortunately down on the right hand side I just didn't have the number of attacks to take out this many guys, so that Machine Wraith sitting there. So if I'm shooting at anyone, then I'm generally not doing anything with the Machine Wraith. And he also had several guys in the zone. I think it was like 7 guys or something like that. So those recursion tactics, they keep coming back, and then they can just park up in the zone, spread out, and then become very difficult to clear out the zones. So yeah, that was it basically. So he managed to win on points before he clocked himself, which was completely fine. I mean, it's Ghost Fleet, and I don't think anyone expects to win against it the first time they encounter it. I felt like if I was playing something like this similar list but with Striker 2, then because of Striker 2's feat, he can get so many more attacks and Electro Leaps out of all of those Storm Lancers, and he can also protect them a little bit more with deceleration, and usually you've got Arcane Shield up on the first unit of Storm Lancers as well. So I think Striker 2 might have a very strong game into Ghost Fleet. Also, Deneghra has to be much more careful with Striker because of his assassination threat. Yeah, so if I come across Ghost Fleet with a what's it called, the Battle Engine, the Wraith Engine, then I think that this list would have more of a game into that because of the shooting on the Hurricane and the magical weapons there. But yeah, I've got a tournament coming up at the weekend. I'm going to have a chance to play another game, but I need to concentrate on playing Nemo 3 because I haven't been playing him enough recently in the list to practice for the tournament. But after that, so I'm sticking with Maddox and Nemo for the tournament, and there's a few Crix players at the tournament, so I might come across Ghost Fleet again. And hopefully, knowing what I know now, then I can be a little bit more aggressive with those Storm Lancers. Hopefully get a bit luckier about my hitting with the Hurricane, and then hopefully deal with them that way. Anyway, so it was quite an interesting game, sort of an introduction to Ghost Fleet for me, and in that sense, as a Signar player, it doesn't seem as scary as maybe some other factions who can't quite get the volume of attacks out. I think Kane 1, for example, I believe his feat still does a remove from play effect. And then the other Kanes, you have line of sight, ignoring staff, and multiple attacks, and they can maybe it's Kane 2 that's got the remove from plate. Anyway, so there's a few reasonably good casters who've got a pretty good game into Ghost Fleet, so we'll see what happens in the meta. But Signar is pretty strong at the moment. Crix doesn't really have a good second option to play against anyone, so because Crix's Ghost Fleet doesn't necessarily auto-win against one of the better factions that's already established in the meta at the moment, then maybe Ghost Fleet won't be quite as OP. Once everyone's got used to it, it won't be quite as OP as everyone seems to think at the moment. But I think it's definitely good for Crix that they've now got something that they can at least challenge other players to. But yeah, as I said, I think Signal's got the answers. Anyway, thanks for listening. Sorry about the lack of details in this battle report. Also, if you like the new intro, let me know. If you don't like it, don't let me know. I don't want to hear it. Okay, see you on the next one.